Right, another week in the life vlog. So yes, 8 o'clock at night now. I'm just starting to get dark. That's what twilight zone time should I say. So nights are definitely drawing in. Yeah, so it's week commencing 29th of August. That was the Monday yesterday, which was the last bank holiday of the year. Not sure if that's true, because Christmas and New Year and all that, but anyway, yeah. Tuesday today, obviously didn't work yesterday. Just to go through my fuel prices, bit of not so pleasant news here. So since the last vlog I did 2 weeks ago, they were both around, well, both my fuel cards were in 139 point something pence plus VAT. And then last week, which was a non-vlog week, they jumped up to mid 145s. And then this week, my UK fuels, which is the Shell card I get for UK fuels, is 152.39 plus VAT. My BWSC or Blocker card, which is their own one, Control 4 diesel, uses the Key Fuels network, is the cheapest, just over 2 pence cheaper at 150.31 plus the VAT, which I haven't actually written down here, so I'll put it on the screen. So yeah, the fuel price obviously had gone down up until 2 weeks ago, but was still very high at like just below 140. But yeah, it's gone up another 11 pence. My cheapest card price from 2 weeks ago plus VAT, so that's no good, is it? So 11 pence, call it 13 point something pence on top with the VAT increase over 2 weeks ago. So that's bad news, but anyway. Stayed high, dropped down, it's going back up. So yeah, like I say, yesterday was a bank holiday. Today I started looking for jobs about 10 to 10. Usual story, my first day of the week, you know, I went for a run before I left the house and get showered up and get all my stuff together and the van loaded and stuff. I just kind of accepted now that I'm away in the evening sort of thing, so if I start slightly late on the first day of the week, so be it. Actually got a job just after 10, so I was probably only looking 15-20 minutes. Long wheelbase job from Aldridge, just north of Walsall, about 5 miles from where I was. It's 165 miles on the job, down to Colchester in Essex. And I went in at 175, so slightly above £1 a mile on quite a long job. So that's a pretty good rate, really. I think the reason I got it was going to Colchester, which might put some people off because it's kind of off into Essex a bit, but still a reasonable area. In some ways, I prefer to be in Colchester than be in, like, you know, within London, within the M25, because there's a bit less competition out here, down towards Essex, I find, when you're trying to get the next job. I went and got loaded. It was one pallet, shop fitting stuff, some like metal grids, cages sort of thing, flat packed, and if you can hear that, that's just a can of pop rolling on the road, and some really long lengths. Must have been, I reckon, 4 metre lengths, because it only fitted, and thankfully we could do it like going diagonally across the van. It's definitely longer than 3.6 metres. It wouldn't have fitted just going straight down a van, but it did fit. That's the main thing. Tight squeeze. So loading was really quick. It was one of those, it actually said pick up from 11 till 12, so I had a bit of time to go, so it wasn't too bad, because I went and got my meal deal on the way and stuff, got there a bit early, got loaded, and I was out of there by 11. Straight drive down to Colchester, no real issues on the way down, and it's one of these ones I could see when I got the delivery address. It said Primark in the centre of Colchester, some shopping centre, like something Lion shopping centre, and these can always be a pain. So what I always do with these is Google Maps it, put it on satellite view, and then look where the actual delivery point is for the shopping centre. But with some like centre of town shopping centres, it can be hard to see where that was. So in the end, I just had to go to the address, the road on the address on the CX. park up in loading bay, and it was clear that wasn't the right place. So I walked in the store and just said, I spoke to one of their members of staff, and they says, oh yeah, you need to go around the back. It's quite a long detour to a certain car park, and next to the car park there's a loading bay that goes underneath the shopping centre, like into the basement. Not uncommon, this, you know. And once I knew how to get there, but I did have a bit of a pain getting there of one-way streets and couldn't turn left, so I had to do a big loop around again, get back in, get in there. Got to the Primark loading bay, cars on the loading bay, so I think there must have been people at work there, so parked as best I could. Buzzer on the door, nobody responding to the buzzer. Tapping on the door, you know, roll the shutter, nobody coming to the thing. And then I noticed there was a phone number on a piece of paper stuck to the wall. Mobile phone number, rang that. Couldn't get through initially, and eventually I got through because I'm in the basement, so it's really bad phone reception. You know, there's this concrete above me, you know, and you know, it's all, you know, poor reception in these places. Eventually got through to somebody, and I says, oh yeah, I'm at your goods in thing, got a delivery, and they says, okay, we'll send someone down. And then about 20 minutes went, still no one. Banging on the door, shut the door again. Tried to phone them, just had absolutely no signal whatsoever, emergency use only. So, you know, you can't phone them, you can't find a shipper and phone the shipper and say, you know, I'm stuck here, I might be waiting time and all this stuff, and let them know with that, because you've got no reception. I've had this before occasionally, a few times, and in the end what I had to do was, while I was waiting, it was obvious it had to be handballed, so I just stripped the pallet down, put the items on their loading bay, sort of like, so there was a skip there, so you know, I skipped all the wrapper and I just left the pallet before they came to the side by their loading bay, so it saved that argument because I just left it there with them. And then still no sign of them. An annoying thing was, when I stood at the roller shutter door, I could hear people moving cages around inside and stuff. And I was tapping on the door and stuff, you know, to roll the shutter door, and they were just blatantly just ignoring me, whoever. So in the end, what I had to do was, I found another lift the other side of like the loading area, had a buzzer on it to get through to security. So I buzzed him and I says, you know, I'm trying to make a delivery to Primark, can't get hold of them anymore, nobody's turned up, can you please can you contact them and let me know? So he says, yeah, no trouble mate, I'll radio them. And then about 5-10 minutes later, the roller shutter finally started going up. Lady comes out and says, oh, really sorry, we thought we knew someone was there, but we just assumed it was just going to be left there. So again, somebody making an assumption, or that's what they're saying. What's it they say about assumptions? Anyway, so, and I could see as soon as the roller shutter went up, there was like a goods lift, obviously going from their basement storage up to the shop itself, and that's where I could hear people coming in and out of the lifts and stuff. So whoever was there loading, moving cages would have heard me tapping on the roller shutter. So that's a bit of crap, really. But anyway, got it signed for. It was all unloaded then, and just scooted off as quick as I could. But I got there like 2:20, or I parked up in the wrong road kind of thing, and then trying to work out where it was. And with all the faffing about and the waiting and being ignored, it's probably like 1 hour and 10 there. But then I was only like 5-10 minutes up with loading, so there should have been waiting time on that. But I couldn't call the shipper and say, well, you know, struggling here, there might be waiting, so I couldn't really charge it. I just got out of there like, yeah, 3:30, would be 3:20, and then went to local supermarket, because that's it, had to go somewhere to get phone reception, get out of this place, and then I'm straight into middle of town, drive to the outskirts of town, park up somewhere in a retail park, and then I can do all the, you know, close the job off from the CX and upload a pod and stuff. So it just turned into one of them tips which you get every now and then. But it kind of like, it meant that was the only job I did today. I mean, I may not have got a job anyway, but that wasted 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I could have snagged a good job, you know. So it's a bit annoying, but still 175 for one job, and the pence per mile all in is 170 miles, so that's not too bad, over £1 a mile. So that was today. I bidded on jobs for the morning as well, for some decent long distance jobs. Didn't get them, but I did get one going from Colchester itself, 3 miles from where I was, to down towards Dartford area, but a bit further still into Essex. And that's 35 miles, short wheelbase van. No, 45 miles, 47 miles it was, sorry. 3 miles from it, so it's like 50 miles on the job. I quoted it 68 quid, and he rang me up. I was thinking 65 quid, but I thought I'll put an extra 3 quid on it, so it looks like really I want 70, but I've knocked 2 quid off. And it's one of these ones where the shipper says, we've got a quote off somebody else which is cheaper, but their feedback isn't as good as yours. And basically, can you do it for their price? Which always kind of annoys me a bit, if you pay for the service you received, you know what I mean? And my feedback, and I'm over 300 positives, no negatives or neutrals ever. I pride myself on doing a good service, modern van, all the gear, PPE and stuff. I'm not going to match the cheapest, so I just said, I didn't even wait till she said what her price was. I says, well, I could round it down to 65, which is kind of what I had in mind anyway. And then she said, yeah, okay, and I sent it over. So I sometimes find doing that, even if you're only giving them 3 quid off, it means they're getting something off, and it makes them feel like they got a deal. So sometimes it's worth banging a few quid on, and then you take a few quid off if they ask for it. It's all mind games, isn't it? It's sales and stuff. So that's the job for the morning. Picking up at 8:30 here. Should have that tipped by 10. That'll be 65 quid. A bit still in Essex, but a bit closer to London. So fair few jobs come out of Southend-on-Sea and stuff I find, and there's Grays and that kind of area. And I'm doing alright pence per mile so far. So I might go a bit competitive on the right job if it came up going long distance, like the Northwest or Yorkshire or something. Might go in reasonably competitive just to get moving and get out the area. I think you've got to make your money coming down to the southeast and going a bit cheaper going north, which is commonly understood. So that's the start of the week, and of Tuesday. Right, Wednesday update. So second day on a run this week. So yeah, I went and did that job this morning. It's 8:30 to have not till 9 collection, so I got there 8:30. Bit frustrating in collection that one, to be honest. It was 2 pallets, 2 ventilation fans, not particularly heavy. But the guy, was asking for a reference number, which is fair enough because they didn't book the courier. The customer booked the courier. It always generally works out better when the place you're collecting from has booked the courier, which is normally the case, but you still get quite a few which booked by somebody else. So when you turn up, even though I had like the address and stuff, he wanted a PO number. Never actually got a PO number in the end, even though I spoke to the shipper, but the customer rang this place I was picking up from and sorted it with them. And I got loaded, so what should have been 10-minute loading, 15 max, turned into the full half hour allocated. But anyway, got loaded. An hour later, turn up to deliver it. Delivery address was to a farm, no company name or anything, but a contact name and phone number on the booking. So get there, obviously don't know where I'm taking it, so ring this phone number, guy called Simon. He says, well, yeah, we've booked the courier yourselves, but it's not being delivered to our premises. It's being delivered to a firm who are doing some work for us, a lifting and slinging and rigging company. You obviously do some work for this company, and he says, well, I put this in the email. It shouldn't be my contact name on this job. It should be the company you're dropping it to, which was in the email. And I says, oh, sorry to hear that. I'm just a driver. it's just the information I've been sent to the office. I'll ring the office and sort it there. And he says, well, I'll text you the number of the person you need to speak to. So he texts me the number, I ring, and they're like, oh yeah, the place I was delivering to, it was just like a yard around the back of a farm, and there were some small units there, but there's no one there. And he says, yeah, it's not going to, we've got 2 engineers heading back to the yard, but they're not going to be there for another hour, like an hour and a half. I thought, brilliant. So I rang the shipper, told them that. They were stressing a bit, and I says, well, obviously, if I'm going to have to wait that time, I have to wait. Didn't want to, but can't really do anything else, but obviously there'll be waiting time. So I sat there waiting, probably like half an hour went, and then a guy from the scaffolding yard, which was next door, came round to see me, and he says, obviously noticed I was there, and asked if he wanted me to unload him. He says he does it quite a lot for this firm I was tipping to. So yeah, nice chap. Got them taken off, no trouble at all. And then I just rang the shipper and says, oh, somebody from another site has taken them and unloaded with their forklift. So that was very nice of the guy. Nice people out there. But this job, it's just, one of them jobs where it was just so much harder than it should have been. And basically it was the shipper's issue, really, because they didn't put the PO number. And then they didn't obviously read the email properly on the order and put the proper contact details and stuff like that. So, and make an arrangement of what time it's going to get tipped and stuff. But anyway, thanks to this guy, it all went alright in the end. At the tip, wasn't too bad. So yeah, it was like just over an hour between collection and tipping, so can't really charge anything extra. It's obviously just not worth it. You get something a bit like that, and sometimes you get alright. So that was that. So I was tipped there like 20 to 11 maybe. Drove out of that place down the road, parked up, bidding on jobs, wanting to get away from London in the southeast. Job pinged up going to Cardiff from sort of Dartford area, so the other side of the tunnel. Bid on it was 185 miles, medium wheelbase, quote 175, which, including getting there, was a bit below what I'd want to do, but it's kind of getting me out of the area, and I was doing all right up until that point, pence per mile for the week. Yeah, so got that job, wanted to collect it. That was a real quick load. 2 long tubes that were like probably close to 3 meters long each, or maybe not, like 2.5 meters maybe, but quite wide as well, like a foot in diameter. Big like tubes, cardboard tubes, about 25 kilograms each, and 1 box. So real quick load on that one. And this was another one, when I got the job details through, another city centre, shopping centre, just like the job yesterday, but it was St David Shopping Centre, which is slap bang in the middle of Cardiff. But I've been to this one before, so I remembered where the access road was. You go under, it's another one where you go underground. There's big loading bays and stuff. I've been there once before, delivered some shop fitting stuff to some engineers or tradesmen late at night. Well, not late night, in the evening a while ago. So I knew how to get in. And this was going to some posh restaurant, the Ivy restaurant, isn't it? Real posh restaurant. So I went in, no words going, obviously, security saying, yeah, I need Ivy's. Like, yeah, okay, it's bay 14. Down to bay 14, park up. I was kind of thinking, hoping, it's just like straight into their premises, but no, it's not. There's a goods lift, then you go up, and then it's a bit like the Trafford Centre. All the small shops in these shopping, or the big ones like M&S and stuff, have got proper loading bays direct to them, for trucks and stuff straight into their warehouse. But the smaller shops you get, obviously, and it might be on 2 floors in your shopping centres, it just got like corridors, goods corridors, so you go up goods lift to the right level, and then you've got to go down these little corridors and find the right door. So eventually found the right door on the second floor. But it was a right faff, this one, because the tubes were so big and not heavy but awkward. So I put them in a cage that was just handily lying about by the van. But then it was too tall. It was like smacking against all the cable trays on the roof and all the pipe work. So I had to get the sack truck out and do 2 trips, which wasn't the end of the world, but basically parking up, it went well until I got to the parking bay, and then I had to obviously find where the right door was, then go back to the van, and then do 2 trips, and then go to the other level to find a manager to sign for the goods. So I was there like 45-50 minutes in the end, but I was loaded in 5-10 minutes, so it wasn't too bad on the job overall. And it being a long job, there was enough money in the job really. So that was a day really. But so far this week, done 3 jobs. Every tip's been a bit of a pain, and you know, 2 of them have been city centre shopping centres, and it's just how it goes sometimes. It's like rough and smooth. Sometimes you get a good run of things where, you know, you just like, you're not getting delayed, and then other weeks or day to day you'll just get jobs where you just seem to be hard work getting tipped. That's just how it goes. So anyway, so yeah, it was 65 for the first job, which is 50 miles all in, and then it was 175 for that job, so that's 240 for over 95 pence a mile total for the day, all miles, so that's not too bad really. Now in Cardiff, Tesco's Splot, is it, some sort of area. I've stopped here, this area, a few times now, like 3 or 4 times. I swear this car park used to have parking restrictions, because I used to park on a road parallel with it, which hasn't, because it's just like a quiet residential street, so I could go in here in the morning. But now it's not restricted parking, so I'm just going to stop in the Tesco car park and go and get my meal deal in the morning and use the toilet and stuff. Yeah, that's Wednesday done. Right, just a quick one about, sometimes get questions about, you know, when I'm out away on the run all week, what do I eat and stuff. So pretty much for lunch all week I get meal deals, basically because I can't take packed lunches, because, you know, obviously it just wouldn't keep that long. I could maybe take a packed lunch on the first day, but it's not really worth it, because you buy all the ingredients and stuff, you got too much for just one day, and then I can only use it for one day. So basically I'm reliant on meal deals for lunches. So meal deals don't have to be unhealthy particularly. I mean, you could just, you know, sandwich a chocolate bar, can of pop, or bottle of Coke or whatever, but obviously that's not very healthy, so I do try to get healthier ones. So there's no sandwiches in Tesco today, no gluten-free sandwiches, so best I could do is this. So Indian spelled onion bhaji rice salad, so not gluten-free, but is there nothing containing gluten in ingredients, but it's kind of as best as I can do today. Pineapple chunks, obviously healthy, and normally I used to drink a lot of coffee when I'm away, like coffee every morning, but I'm trying to cut down. So with this I'd normally get, you know, like a fruit smoothie, but today I decided to have a coffee. The main reason, it's a Costa coffee, and it's part of the meal deal. So this came to the meal deal, standard price, Tesco, £3.50. So for that. But with the club card comes down to £3, and when you think the cost of itself is £2.45, it's a bit of a bargain really, that, isn't it? And I get the Costa points reward, so I'm 1 coffee next closer to my free coffee as well. So anyway, yeah, that's basically what I usually have for lunch. Yeah, just to add, same day, just to add about the meal deals for lunch and stuff, because I have to eat gluten-free. There's only certain supermarkets that sort of cater for that. So Tesco is one, Morrison's is another. I find them two are very inconsistent, whether they've got an actual one on the shelf, and if they have got a space on the shelf, quite often there's just nothing there. The only one I can really rely on is Marks and Spencer. So in the actual food halls or whatever, I just buy a sandwich because they don't do a meal deal on them. But if you know the BP garages with the Wild Bean cafes, that place, it's alright there because you get an M&S sandwich. I normally get crisps from them, but they're M&S crisps, you know, like better quality ones. And you can either get a coffee, a large coffee, or drink. I normally get, well, I don't get coffee so much now, but I tend to just get, you know, pure fresh squeezed orange juice or something like that. That's a £5, so quite expensive, but you know, it's better quality stuff. So that's kind of what I'm trying to plan at each week or each day, to either get it in the morning or, you know, have to get it on the run otherwise. You can get M&S in the services on the motorways as well, motos. But it's a slightly different deal there. What sandwiches you can get is a bit more restricted. And I've kind of built up a knowledge around the country where Wild Bean Cafe garages are, so I'm thinking, oh, that job's going such and such, so I can, you know, go to this garage and get something for lunch on the way. Obviously, if you're not gluten sensitive or celiac, you can just get any old meal, can't you? So it's a bit of a pain for me, really, but it's just how it is. But anyway, still Thursday, and still sat in the same Tesco's in Cardiff. So started looking for jobs 7:30, didn't get a job until 20 to 3. Yes. So it's just really hard, really. I bid on a fair few jobs. I wouldn't say it's busy, but, you know, I bid on some jobs I'm pretty close to, and I thought, you know, that's got to be a good offer, good chance of me getting that. I did have a phone call from a shipper at 10:30. Asked if I was still available. It said in the job notes, must be 3.2 metres, my van's 3.6, so I bid on it. He rang me up, says, am I still available? What length of my van? I said 3.6. He says, alright, fine, I'll just phone the customer and I'll get back to you. So it's one of them, you're thinking, obviously, you know, the customer's maybe, it's not definitely going ahead, but he said he'd get back to me. And then, like, 5 minutes later, it's a bit awkward in that situation because I got other bids out, and then if somebody else phones me, do I then say, sorry, I've got a job, I've just had another job, which I haven't actually had, but does that put me on hold, sort of thing, to get a job? And how long do you give? But anyway, nobody called me back. They didn't call me back, and I noticed the job had gone. So either the shipper, the customer said, oh no, we don't need it doing anymore, or more likely he got a cheaper price or decided to use somebody else, but didn't call me back. And in a way, I'm kind of waiting for him. You know, I'm kind of like, you got to give him at least 5-10 minutes. That's how it goes. This shipper, I've done a few jobs for them before, not a massive amount, but I've noticed the last few months they're big in South Wales, and I don't think a great deal of them, to be honest. I don't think, you know, they treat subbies too well, and just little things like that. And there was something a few weeks ago, and then this afternoon he's putting loads of jobs, well, not loads of jobs, a few jobs on backload rate, but it's collect, you know, at a certain time or within the hour and deliver ASAP. No mention of co-loading or anything. I've said it a million times before, some people don't agree with me. All jobs on a CX are subcontracting to other transport companies, so they are all backload rates. The only 2 different jobs on there are dedicated and direct, which is your standard hotshot job. There's also a thing there on the CX that shippers post them called backload, which has always annoyed me, really, and annoys a few others. Really, it should be hotshot, which is your standard, you know, dedicated and direct service, and then it should be not backload, because they're all backloads anyway, co-loads, which are, you know, can be loaded to something else, and it needs to be kind of like quite flexible and open pickup and delivery time frames. But anyway, got to like 2:30, job pinged up, Newport, going to Crewe. I recognised the shipper. I kind of knew where I was going to be collecting from the train manufacturing place in Newport, and it's going to Crewe. So I did that collection, that drop before, probably like a month ago now. I've also delivered something into their Newport as well from elsewhere. I think it was up from the northeast, actually. It was a good job. So that's picking up at 4, so I've got a bit of time to kill, but it's getting me to Crewe, but I need to drop it off at 8 in the morning, so that means I can stop off at home tonight, get up to Crewe in the morning, drop it off at 8, and then it's my last day of the week, obviously it's Friday, try and get a job home. And the way I'm feeling, to be honest with you, when it got to sort of like lunchtime and I didn't have anything, I was thinking, right, I'll leave it till late afternoon, I'm just going to drive home empty and just sack off working for this week. I'm just fed up. And maybe go out on my bike, on my trails bike or something, and just this time next week I'll know whether I've passed my driving HGV class 1 Arctic. It's a bit mad to think, really. I've not even driven one yet, and by 6 days from now I'm going to have my test, but I've also got 2 days of 6-hour training before it, but I don't know, that doesn't seem quite right to me. But things all being well, a bit mad to think, really, I could have everything done to be a class 1 Arctic driver this time next week, or this time yesterday. A bit mad, really, but yeah, a bit fed up, had enough. So I'm just going to trundle down to Newport now, get there a touch early, see if I can get it, get loaded, head home. Nothing nickable because it's train parts. Obviously it's going to be in a van overnight. I hope nothing nickable, but you never know. Hope all is well there. And then yeah, that's it. Plan for the rest of the week. Right, last on the run update for the week. So yeah, that job yesterday, pretty straightforward. Went and picked it up, 2 pallets. Obviously knew where the collection was, knew where the tip was. Spent the night at home. I had to be up reasonably early at 6. Left the house sort of like 20 to 7. Couldn't tip it till 8, so I had a bit of time to kill just before I went in. Straight in and tip, no trouble. So the job went really straightforward. It's nice sometimes when you've done the job before, even though the load was slightly different. It's the only thing different. And it was 150 quid I got for that. It was 143 miles loaded. It was medium wheelbase, so that's quite good money. I priced it 95 pence a mile, including getting there from where I was in Cardiff to get to the pickup in Newport. So yeah, that shippers are pretty, I like them, good shipper. Yes, so that was a job, that was straightforward. There was some bit of a strange experience during this job, some strange goings on in a lay-by, so which I think I'll put as part of the title. So what happened was I left Newport, not long after leaving Newport, really needed a piss, a wee, sorry. So, you know, stopping services or garages when you can, but sometimes, you know, it's got to be laybys. It's just kind of part of being in transport, really. Obviously, as a bloke, it's a lot easier than if you're a lady. So, driving along the A449, which goes from Newport towards Monmouth, and then the M50. It's a dual carriageway, and there's one of these laybys that, you know, it's not immediate on the road. I try not to do them because obviously you want to be out of sight, and I don't piss right next to the lay-by. I always try and go up into the bushes far away so you don't make the place smell and stuff. Try to be a bit considerate. So pulled off into this lay-by. It's one of these ones separate from the road. You go down and you can't actually really see the lay-by from the road where the cars park up and stuff. Big lay-by, big wide one. You know, probably a lot of trucks there overnight and stuff. But there's a few trucks and some cars parked up. But couldn't really get into the bushes because there was fencing, tall fencing, like all around it. But then I noticed there was a gate, like a pedestrian gate, on the far side, and it looked like there was a path going down into the woods, like going diagonally down this hill. So I thought, oh well, I'll just go in there, well away from the road, ideal, into the woods, have a slash down there. So I start walking down there. And I was about to have a slash like on the side, and I thought, well, better make sure it's not a public footpath and there's nobody coming the other way, you know, and I'm going to start slashing and somebody walks along, and you know, it's a bit close to the path really, so I thought I'll just see around the corner. Walk around the corner, there's a bloke there, stood there, and he's dressed rather strangely. He's got leather trousers, no, leather shorts on, leather cap, and a leather gilet unzipped, so you know, sleeveless, like jacket, leather jacket, but no undone, and just like bare chested beneath. And I thought, he's dressed a bit oddly, but you know, fair enough, whatever. So I thought, I can't now, because I'll keep walking and find somewhere else. So I walked past him, and then looking for somewhere else, and there's kind of a path going down to a road further down, but I noticed there's a bloke, like another bloke just stood there, just dressed normally. This is like 10 metres, 15 metres further on. But you know, when you're walking down a path and there's someone coming the other way, you kind of wait and then they go past. He didn't do that. And I thought, okay, so is he not walking? Or maybe, you know, these two chaps have just got doing the same thing as me, finding somewhere to have a slash. So I thought, well, I can't go down there anyway. So I turned around and started going back towards where I came. And I noticed on the floor there was a condom packet, empty condom packet. And I thought, that's a bit strange. I mean, it's one of them places where there's rubbish everywhere. Maybe it's just general rubbish, but, you know, a bit of a strange place to go shagging, really. Why is that on the floor? And then it just, I'm a bit slow on the uptake on these things. Then it twigged on me. Right, this is one of them laybys. I've heard about these sort of places. There's obviously dogging laybys, which dogging is one thing, but I think this was a layby where gay guys go for casual encounters, shall we say. And I was down there, and these two guys were probably, you know, milling around. They weren't walking, didn't look like they were going anywhere or gone for a slash or just walking past. They were loitering about, really. So I just thought, right, get the hell out of here. So straight back up the path to the thing, got in the car, or van, of course. And then this few minutes, well, less than a minute later, the guy in the leather clad guy came out and got into his car, and it was a German number plate. So maybe it's just snazzy German dressing, but no, I'm pretty sure it's one of them places. I'm not homophobic or anything like that. You know, some people are that way inclined, and it's their life and they can do what they like, kind of thing. Doesn't harm anyone else, sort of thing. It's up to them what they do and sort of thing. Live and let live and stuff. But yeah, it wasn't very comfortable when I realised where I was and what was possibly going on down there. So that was a bit of a strange experience. So whenever I stop now in lay-by, I'll be far more mindful about that kind of thing. So that was yesterday. I'm tipping that job this morning. So I was tipped anyway, getting back to the jobs. Tipped that thing at 8. Went and parked around the corner, got some fuel. And then I did get a job at 9. 30 miles loaded. 10 miles to get there, so it's 40 miles in total. Picking up in Stoke, dropping in JCB by Cheadle, compact something or whatever it is, but to reception, one bag to go to reception, like prototype stuff, and then one pallet to go to Hickson, Stafford, near Stafford, Hickson Airfield, old World War II airfield. Been here before, but not to the JCB place. Just one pallet to there. So I was on the job 2 hours, 60 quid. So that's £30 an hour on the job, including, you know, from getting it to finishing it, including getting there time. And 40 miles, 60 quid. And it got me a lot closer to home. So I was tipped here just after 11. I think that's it for the week. I'm so close to home now. I'm so restricted in the jobs I'm going to go for this time of day. I've learned this. If you get on the last day of the week, which is usually a Friday, obviously, when I get home, sort of within striking distance of home, sort of midday-ish, just go home. Just don't faff about. Just make the most of it and get home, and got plenty to do at home. So that's on the run update. Done. I'm not far from home here. I haven't put it into Google Maps, but maybe 20 miles or something like that. So I'm going to go home and I can have my lunch, get home for lunch, have lunch. Might go for a bike ride this afternoon. Get a few jobs done. If some parts have turned up in the post that I've ordered from a motorbike and stuff. So that's it. But I'm just going to do a little video now because I've been here before and I think I filmed about this before. There's a big place here on the old airfield, obviously a big wide open area, tarmac area where it's full of it's like a commercial vehicle breakers, and not on the runway but on the industrial estate. There's loads of knackered trailers. So let's have a look at the knackered trailers. Here we go. Over there is like the big commercial vehicle breakers yard. This trailer here is obviously something wrong with the fifth wheel hitch. Something's hit that pretty hard. That blue one over there, there was actually, see the front, a fire at the front. So I'm guessing that looks like a fridge trailer. I'm guessing the fridge unit caught fire. This one's got a huge dent on the other side, and that one over there. So I think these are tippers that have gone over, because that's the big risk with tippers, they can go on the side. That one's got a wheel. That front axle's hit something pretty hard. That one over there is obviously bridge strike, shape of it. And the red one, never bridge strike. This one here, fire at the rear, EFS. Polypipe bridge strike, lots of bridge strikes. And this one, can I state that, bridge strike. If you look at this one, looks brand new, no rust on the wheels or anything. So I'm guessing the axles and stuff, that's what they do, but the trailer itself is scrap, but take all the good bits off it. Clark Transporter one, obviously had a fire at the front, but that's not a curtain, not a fridge, because it's curtain side. Anyway, that's the dead ones for today. Right, summary time. So I'm going to try and make this quick because the video's got really long and I'm a bit behind. So it's actually Monday now, so I've actually just finished the first day of my Arctic driving course. Went alright. Done the reversing and passed that. Done the uncoupling and coupling, past that. So full day driving tomorrow, 6-hour block with 30 minutes for lunch, and then a test on the Wednesday. So head's a bit frazzled now anyway, but I've got to get this done. So I worked in the end. Monday was a bank holiday, of course, and then I worked the 3 days till Thursday, and then Friday was a half day pretty much, as I said earlier. So Tuesday was one job 175, Wednesday best day of the week 65 and 175 for 240, Thursday one job 150, and then Friday 60 quid, half day, not even a half, well maybe not even a half day, but yeah, kind of like got me closer to home, and then just knocked it on the head and went home. So total, which is pre-VAT, I had somebody ask these numbers including VAT, no but not, they're just net of VAT, so VAT goes on top. So 625 plus the VAT, which comes out at 178 per day takings plus VAT per day. 652 miles, all miles, from leaving on a Tuesday morning to getting back on a Friday afternoon, early afternoon on a Friday. Works out all miles pence per mile of 95.85p a mile, which is okay. £3 Dartford charge crossing, first charge I've had for a while, fee or toll and stuff. Once I work out what my actual profit is for the week after taking into account my fixed costs and also my running costs, per mile costs, it's £357. And like I say, I worked 3.5 days, call it, so it's £102 a day, which is pretty pants really. But I only worked 3 days and I had 2 days of one job and then a half day on the Friday. Last week, which is a non-vlog week, I did actually do £142 a day over 4 days. So I had a decent week last week, but this week's gone, or last week went south, went wrong. Yes, well, anyway, that was the week in numbers. Bit of a strange week, like I said. Had a few awkward tips, and I said you quite often get that out of like a good run where things just go well. On jobs, so you get loaded and unloaded quick and you don't have any problems finding stuff, and other times you get just like a spate of jobs that just seem to be hard to get rid of the load, and that's what happened this week really, particularly in city centre shopping centres. Even when I've been to the one before in Cardiff, it still kind of ended up being a long tip. I didn't get any extra money on them for one reason or another. Anyway, so that was that, and then the old strange goings on in that roundabout, not roundabout, lay-by. I heard of, like, you know, dogging areas, but not really areas where gay guys sort of go, and that's a complete eye-opener for me. So I have to be far more careful where I go for a slash now. I just know, does anyone else? Is this a common thing? I don't know if anyone knows. And then, yeah, that was just a whole strange experience. And there's something else. What was it? Oh yeah, thanks to everyone who's offered me or, you know, given me good luck for this week, for the test and training. Still seems pretty mad. I could have it in 3 days or 2 days now, but I might not, you know. Yes, that's about it really. So as ever, thanks for watching. I'll try and keep this a bit short. Any comments for either myself or anyone else who watches, something people can learn from, please put them below. And cheers for watching.